Are you wanting to feel a little bit more fulfillment in your life? Well, today I'm going to talk about three key lessons I've learned from giving to someone and how that's really impacted my self esteem and confidence. And if you stay until the end, I have an extra point for you then as well. Now, before we dive in today, I just wanted to mention that if you want to keep up to date of all the latest podcast episodes and get a weekly confidence tip, make sure you never miss anything. All you got to do is click in the link in the show notes below and you can sign up to our newsletter for absolutely free. Okay. This was an episode I decided to do based on a conversation I had. Well, not a conversation, something that happened the other day. I bought a woman who was on the street, an elderly woman on the street, sadly, a coffee. And what happened was, it was a Saturday morning. I love my Saturday mornings. It's like nice, peaceful time. Back go play football. Fortunately, we lost in football. Anyway, I was walking just to go to get a coffee next door because I don't like making my own coffee because, quite frankly, it's awful. And I was walking to Costa Coffee. If you're in England, you know what that is. It's like a kind of Starbucks equivalent in the UK. It's a rival as well. And I was walking to it, and this woman on the street goes to me. She goes, "Can you buy me a coffee?" And it's really interesting because I had set an intention to start living from my heart and living from a place of love. And my natural reaction when I said all those things was to turn around and I went, "Of course, what would you like?" Which was great. I was really pleased I did that. And it made me feel good about myself, and the women enjoyed a coffee. Anyway, I went and got the coffee, and it's quite tricky carrying both coffees. I spilled a bit on my hand. Anyway, and it burned me a little bit. And I got her also a bottle of water because I thought that obviously hydrating is one of the most important things. And coffee, alcohol, these kind of things don't hydrate you, whilst I got her a bottle of water. Anyway, it's not to say, well done, Johnny, you did something good. Although I would claim it's a good deed, it's not necessarily about that. There are three lessons that I took away from this experience that I wanted to share with you, and I thought it was really, really important. Now, I want to ask you this because I've been guilty of this many times. How does it help when you're stuck? How does it help you when you're stuck in your head and you're like going, everything's going wrong, and then you're just like stuck on yourself. And I'm not saying you shouldn't think about yourself and look after yourself. That's a foundation for everyone else. Yeah, I found when I'm just thinking about myself all the time, I don't feel so good, right? Whilst when I do something for others, it makes me feel a lot better, a lot of sense of fulfillment and purpose, all those kind of things, right? So breaking the cycle and doing something for someone else can really help. And this was just programmed into me because I started making that intention to live from a place in the heart and from love a little bit more. So this is what I learned, right? The first one is like feel great about acts of kindness you do and really allow that to sink into your system because so many times we forget about all the great things we've done in our life, right? Or kindness acts for other people. And when we can recall these moments, really feel them, that's going to boost our sense of purpose, fulfillment up. And then we start thinking about the negatives and things like that. So when we start remembering all these things, we start to feel pretty good. The second thing is this woman was so happy, right, that I got her a coffee, and she didn't even ask for what size. I just got her a large one anyway. Anyway, not that I would have minded, but it's not even that much difference between a small and a large. I just got her a large, not because of the price, but I just thought she'd like a large coffee. Anyway, just the appreciation, the excitement, and then I'm just like annoyed about something small. I can't remember what I was annoyed about. Anyway, I was annoyed about something small, other points in that day, right? And then actually the appreciation sometimes and these small little things which we perceive as small, we buy someone a coffee, actually is a really big thing to them. And actually start to notice appreciation things. Now, I know it sounds a bit of a cliche and it's thrown about the personal growth space, and it's quite frankly in the past annoyed me a little bit. It's like this: be grateful, be abundant for what you have. And yes, whilst I agree with it, when you actually can feel it and take time out, even if it's 5 minutes a day to really feel that in your body, it makes a massive difference. So appreciation is key. Now, I like to combine it with breath work. So then I really get those feelings in the body, because gratitude for me doesn't work unless you really feel it. If you say, I'm grateful for my health, I am grateful for my family, I'm grateful for my job, and you're just saying it intellectually, you don't really feel it. So being appreciative of the small things. And then my third thing that I learned from this, and I realized I had done this and I hadn't done this sometimes, and it actually impacts on my self-confidence. And that is, if you don't ask, you don't get. This woman said, can you buy me a coffee? Would I have bought her a coffee if she had asked me? No, it wouldn't even come into my head. My natural reaction was to get her a coffee, right? Because to be honest, I was walking a different direction anyway. She kind of shouted it more, not aggressively, but she just kind of grabbed my attention, right? So I'm walking, and then she says, can I get a coffee? Like, you don't ask, you don't get. And I found times when I, like, whether it was like asking for something at work, an opportunity, whether it is asking for a deal in business, whether it was asking that pretty girl for a number, like, I wouldn't have got those things. And obviously, you can still get a chance of people saying no to those things, but you got a 100% chance of them saying no if you don't ask, right? And this woman asked me, and it's a simple thing we forget to ask. Now, there's obviously a line. You can't ask like one person for everything, right? Unless they're a complete pushover, right? But sometimes we forget to ask. And what I find is there's a lot of unfortunately, a lot of homeless people are like sort of spread about the city, and they're always like, oh, can I have some change, right? You don't ask, you don't get, right? Whether that's a sign they've made or whether they're asking. So I think like day to day, we get caught on our own lives and we forget to just ask for the basic things we want. And look at children. Children are a great example. They're like, I want an ice cream, right? I want a big castle for my birthday. They might not necessarily get a big castle, but you know, genuinely, they believe it in their minds and they believe in their own greatness. And then we get these limiting beliefs as we grow older. So I think the art of coming back to maybe now and then just asking for something that you want is key. Not being selfish, not at the expense of others, but don't feel guilty about asking for what you want, like this woman did, and I got her a coffee. Okay, and I've got an extra point that I want to share with you. We'll kind of re-emphasize one of the points, but add a little bit to it. But just before I go on to that, I want to mention that if you want to keep up to date with all the latest podcast episodes, never miss any, and get a weekly confidence tip, all you got to do is subscribe to the newsletter for absolutely free. That's linked in the show notes below, and then I'll be giving you those weekly updates. My bonus point then is keep an inventory list. And what I mean by that is a list of your own greatness. And what that does is it allows you to believe in yourself, connect with you. And therefore, when you start loving yourself more, you're going to love other people. So what I would do is just write down like just even small things like, you know, you went to the gym, you got up on time, you were kind to someone, you know, bought someone a coffee or whatever like that. And you keep looking at that list consistently, you will program it into your mind, right? When you do that more and more and more. Okay. So that's what I got for you today. I appreciate you for being here. You're improving other people's lives by being the best you. And remember, you are in control of your own self-esteem and confidence.